New at 5:30, Western New York will soon learn just how many migrants seeking asylum will come here from New York City. Late this afternoon, Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz confirmed the news that we broke last night, that New York City reached out to Erie County to try to help alleviate the crisis, which has shelters and some hotel rooms downstate filled to capacity. Now, all other counties in our region have already issued states of emergency in preparation for an influx of migrants. Erie County has not gone that route. This has become a very divisive and political issue, and based on comments from our viewers, there's also a lot of confusion out there. So we want to spend a few minutes here tonight helping get some answers to better understand how the situation at the southern border is impacting Western New York. And joining me live right now is Kerry Battenfeld. She is the supervising immigration attorney with the local bar association's Volunteer Lawyers Project here in Buffalo. This is something I know you deal with on a daily basis. Thanks so much for coming in. I want to start here with just some basics because there is so much misinformation out there right now. When we hear the term asylum seeker, refugee, migrant, what should we know about those terms, how they're different and what they mean?
So, yeah, refugee and asylee or asylum seeker get sort of used interchangeably, and they are distinct legal terms. Sure. Migrant is more of a colloquial term. It doesn't have a real legal definition. It refers mostly to just people who are moving from one place to another. Refugees are individuals who are unable or unwilling to return to their countries of origin because they have been persecuted in the past or they have a well-founded fear of future persecution, and that needs to be on the basis of a protected ground. So race, religion, political opinion, membership in a particular social group, and so that can be something like they identify as a member of the LGBTQ community, but they go through the process outside of the United States, quite often in a refugee camp where they might have lived for a number of years before actually being able to go through the process, go through the background checks, may prove their claim, and get refugee status. And they enter the United States as refugees and are entitled to certain benefits as a result of that. Asylees or asylum seekers need to meet the definition of a refugee, so they, again, are unable, unwilling to return to their home country because they have been persecuted or they fear persecution on one of those protected grounds. But they go through that process and claim that status here in the United States. So that's really the difference. It's the same type of claim, but it's where you are applying for it and where it's granted that changes.
A lot of people, and you can see this just on social media, have referred to the folks who are right now in New York City who may be coming here to Western New York as illegal immigrants. And of course, folks immediately clap back and say asylum is a legal process, right? Mm-hmm. How would you explain that to people as to why, it's not illegal immigrants, right? They're here legally or else they wouldn't be asylum seekers.
Yeah, I mean, illegal immigrant is a really charged term. It's also one that doesn't have any real legal significance. And people who are seeking asylum are here lawfully. The only way that you can seek asylum is to come to the United States and request it. That's what you have to do to seek asylum. It's the only way to do it. So they're going about the process the way that it is outlined under our laws. Mm-hmm. So they are here lawfully. They have the right to pursue that form of relief and remain here while they are awaiting a decision on their applications.
We mentioned earlier, we got an updated statement this afternoon from Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz, and I want to share a little bit of that with our viewers, because he said a pretty strong statement here, saying over the past decade and more, approximately 12,000 refugees have moved into and through our area as part of the good work that the Refugee Partnership does, all without fanfare and without the ridiculous fears stoked by xenophobic and ill-informed community members. So as someone who works with asylum seekers often, but also refugees, and you mentioned the legal distinction between the two, would you agree with the statement there from the county executive in terms of the resources that are available here in Western New York? And I guess just the experience and the history that we have as a place where asylum seekers and refugees, migrants overall, tend to come.
Yeah, I mean, we're a border city with our location close to Canada, and those organizations that Poloncarz mentioned have been operating in this area for decades, bringing new Americans essentially into our community and helping them get set up. So there absolutely is the programs are in place, there's the expertise locally. The Buffalo Immigration Court is housed here in the city and covers all of upstate New York. So people have been coming through this area for a very long time, and we do have the resources and the capacity set up to meet the needs of those individuals. There's always a need for resources because those organizations that Poloncarz mentioned do run really on shoestring budgets, and they do a lot for a lot of people with very little, very few resources.
Finally, I've only got about 45 seconds left, but people who are opposed to bringing these asylum seekers here will say that by the time they get this all adjudicated, the majority of asylum seekers don't actually qualify. Fact check that for us, and what would you say to folks who believe that there are those at the southern border who are taking advantage of our asylum system?
I mean, I don't know the actual numbers off the top of my head of how many cases are ultimately successful. I do know, just from my own personal experience, I've had cases denied that I believe were wrongfully denied, and that happens from time to time. I think that happens much more frequently than, cases being approved where there wasn't a real claim.
You said because they need attorneys like you working
yes,
with them.
Yes, and that's often because people who have experienced significant trauma, have made that long journey, are not often in the best position to advocate for themselves. And because these laws are so complex, they don't know the parts of their story and the parts of their experience that qualify them for asylum. So having an attorney to walk you through that process and help you put together a strong case is really, really essential.
We've been joined here by Kerry Battenfeld. She is the supervising immigration attorney with the Volunteer Lawyers Project here in Buffalo, part of the Bar Association. Right, the Erie County Bar.
Yeah, we fall under,
Yeah,
under
absolutely.
them. Yep.
Thanks for coming in. This is an important topic.
Thank you for having me.